Call to order the meeting of the East Haddam Planning and Zoning Commission. We have the attendance, please.
Craig Brownell,
Here.
James Curtin,
Here.
Kevin Matthews,
Here.
Harvey Thomas,
Here.
Bernard Gillis,
Here.
Louis Salacrup,
Here.
Ed Gubbins absent, Richard Pettinelli. Nope, Ed Gubbins is here.
Hey, Ed.
Richard Pettinelli, absent, and Jose. Here.
Okay. Minutes of our past meeting, which were September 25th. Oh, excuse me.
I just had a, one thing on the last page there, page 3, up the top where it's page 25, the 4 corners. And it says, development of the corner parcel is contingent to the state installing a traffic circle. We should change that to, I think what we were talking about was how if they do put the traffic circle in, it's gonna affect whatever development you can do there. So we could probably reword it to say something like, the development of the corner parcel will be affected should the state install a traffic circle. The other thing was the, in that correction of the 20,000 acres, this is just below that, page 19, 3.2. Amend the 20,000 acres, do we have a number that we were putting in there or not?
We didn't have a number at that time.
Okay.
I determined the number of acreage.
Okay, I was just wondering what it was. Okay, that's all I had.
Anyone else?
Well, page, top of page 3, number, it says page 23, Moodus Village. Second line, the consensus is that by increasing local business constraints, local business constraints will be reduced. And I thought we spoke about how the local businesses are, let's see, development is pretty much restricted by self-inflicted wound by the
Yeah,
business.
that statement's not correct, yeah. What do you want it to read?
I don't know, that develop.
Well, they'll increase if you increase your development, your constraints are gonna be a little more difficult, I would think. I mean, it's not, can't be the other way, right? If you develop more Mudas, it's gonna get
No.
easier?
But
I think so.
But our
But actually,
discussion was circled,
There's not actually any constraints, so.
We don't have any.
You know, it's not traffic,
No.
it's not septic.
it's the owners, right?
Yeah. They're just not
much.
doing what
Right.
we
They're
would love to see.
happy with what they have.
Yeah, they're satisfied to stick with what they have,
Yeah.
but how do you want that to read?
I don't know,
I understand that statement is not correct.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of clarify that whole concept because I think it's,
So maybe it is that consensus was that local businesses don't have an overload of constraints, or there's not.
Yeah, cause that was what
Well,
was.
how about
Right.
that local businesses appear to be unconcerned about constraints?
Well, the only thing we wanna
There are
do,
constraints, but they don't really care.
there aren't many,
They don't
though.
wanna remedy
Not
it.
many.
There aren't many constraints. The constraints they were talking about from the analysis was septic. And
Not only,
there really aren't any, there was one, use down there that had a problem, but they could have.
and they still could, the
They
for
still
sale
could.
signs up.
Oh, it's still up, okay. So, I mean, there really weren't a lot of septic constraints on what could be done there. I don't know what you wanted to read, but.
yeah, I was hoping there'd be smarter minds in the room.
Let's think about it. Consensus is
Well,
increasing
if
local
we-
businesses. Local business.
How
If
about-
we have to, we can just drop the damn statement, the consensus is, that the constraints will be reduced, just say that we'll address the constraint analysis, I mean, we could just leave it at that if we,
Yeah,
if we
okay.
can't come up with anything else.
There you go, I'll live with that, yeah.
Okay.
And down the bottom, did we schedule October 28th, 29th?
29th, yes.
We did,
Yep, and that's being delivered tomorrow to the paper.
okay, very good.
And insert,
timing?
Seven o'clock.
With Mike? Oh, okay.
Yep.
29th. What day does that fall?
That's a Monday.
Hope I can make it. 22nd or something. Okay.
That was the fifth Monday, so it didn't conflict with any.
Yeah, I have other things, so, yeah. Okay. Guess we'll accept the minutes as amended. Have any bills?
No bills.
No bills. Okay, lot line revision, new, 18-14, Sam Pinkerton, Wiley Pickham, Tater Hill Road, lot 30, Babcock Road, lot line revision, assessors map 13, lot 19 and 15.
I sent 2 copies to spread out over there.
Yep. Do we have another one here or not?
No.
Hey, there it is. Fine, Rich. Hey, Rich, pull the chair.
Shortage of seats right away, we see it.
You sit right in the front row.
Grab one for the end. I don't know what happened to the seats.
Okay, what do you have, Jim?
So, in front of you is this lot line change. Ed and I have the uncolored version, but the Peckhams own 2 existing lots now. One that is on Tater Hill Road, which is owned by Samuel, which is 4.98 acres, and the other on Babcock Road, which is owned by Delano, which is 3.15 acres. They also own this larger 27 acre piece, and what they'd like to do is merge in or add to each parcel. On the Tater Hill Road parcel, they're going to add enough to make it a total of 10 acres. And on the Babcock Road, they're going to make it a even 4 acres. And you'll also notice that there's a little connection from a small piece on Babcock Road that connects all the way through to the other piece
Yep.
that connected. Now, that little piece, just so you know, is a pond. It has a fire
Out front there.
out front, yep, on Babcock. It has a fire, access to it for water. And also by keeping that, it keeps the rest of the property above 20 acres. Not that they said it, but if you kept the whole piece above 20 acres, possibly down the road, they could come to us with an open space subdivision, and that'd be considered part of the open space. But they didn't say it, but I'm just thinking out loud. So realistically, what you have is to request for lot line change to make 2 existing lots larger.
No buildings on these?
Each of them have a single family home on the lots.
Questions?
On the piece out front that has the pond on it, what's that line?
Just the new lot line.
Oh, that's arrows to it.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's that? Okay. No questions? Do you have a mind to make a decision? Approve, deny? Pretty basic, so
We'd have to have basis for
I don't see anything. You know.
That's Jim knows something that we don't know.
What's that?
No, I'm saying we'd have to have a basis for denial,
Yeah, no,
and there is none.
yeah, they're not creating new lots, they're just adding to existing.
They're just moving it around.
That right of way that goes through it is interesting, I don't know if there's a history to that, or.
No, it's just that it's, it connects it to one pond area to the rest of the land, that's their desire. We have no regulation that says it has to be X by X and no thinner than, and so,
They own the land, and
yeah.
they can do that, yeah.
I guess they just wanna leave it open so anyone can walk it, I guess, to the pond, is what it is. Makes this property a little bit more valuable if you can go to the pond, I guess, you know.
Take your horse down there.
Right, exactly. Or drive your quads or, so, okay. Anyone care to write a,
Motion.
sure, go ahead. Fred.
Motion to approve, 18-14, 10 Riley Crescent, Cedar Hill Road, lot and 30 Babcock Road, lot line, revision.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
One abstention.
Okay, entertain a motion to change order of business.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Let's do the ZEO.
Well, one thing Bob Kasner did, cause he was asked for, was,
Yep.
Abstention.
just an FYI, it's the renditions of the plan for his elevation. So he said he'd provide that for you, and he did,
Okay.
so you got it. Second thing, from a ZEO end of it, I've spent more time in the last 2 weeks title searching and looking up for maps for Public Works for all the blown out structures and roadways they have. It was bad before with the tree issue, but now it's just compounded, completely. But, that's part of the working together, so I've been doing a lot of that. I also had a complaint that just came this afternoon about a B&B that held a wedding, so I will research it, because we don't prohibit Airbnbs, and.
Which one?
Huh?
Which B&B?
They said it was one of them that are on 156. Had an issue before, but it was for a relative, so, how do I chase this?
Well, we only have a little short section of 156.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side before the
The
bridge.
big house on the hill there?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they've been in Airbnb for a while,
Oh, they have.
yeah.
Which house is it?
It's down on 156. It's
Yeah.
on the left as
Left.
you're going down 156 up on the
Going
hill.
south, it's on the left, yeah, right,
Overlooking the brook.
the barn.
Yeah, that's a big colonial.
Which one is it?
It's kind of a big colonial on the left, it's up on a hill a little bit before you get to the 8 Mile.
Oh,
Before the
okay.
first bridge.
I didn't realize there was one down there.
There's,
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a
Uh-huh.
B&B, but.
Yeah, so Lime called me a few years ago and complained about it because they said, we don't allow that, and I said, well, it's in East Haddam, so why are you yelling at me? I mean, I said, we have rentals around the lakes, we've always had rentals on the lake, so what's the difference if somebody rented on the lake or if they rented on a main drag? And, well, you should do something about that. I said, good luck with that.
Oh, worried
Yeah.
about somebody making some money.
It's just, they don't have any lakes, so they don't understand. They don't deal with that type of
Rentals.
rental
That's
issue.
right, they don't.
Nah. And nobody on Hamburg Cove rents out their building there.
No, but anybody can rent their house as a matter of right.
Yeah,
I mean, they can't.
but you know what, I do get a lot of people that call up and ask, is there any ordinances or anything written about it? So, there has been some attempts to curb the Airbnbs, but it's like herding cats. I mean, it's on the webpage one day and it's off the next and it's back again, and if somebody has a, very large house and, they're not some of them learn the hard way because they give clients that wreck their house, but that's their problem,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
But it is an allowed use in our,
It's
so.
allowed use, yeah.
Seems like it's more of an issue in the big cities. Like New York and San Francisco, and they're all addressing that, but I don't think in rural areas it's, gets much mileage.
All these years at the rentals and, the cottages, they get rented by the week, they get rented by the weekend. We very rarely have heard a lot. We had that one person that was doing the wedding things every week, playing till midnight, and they've, I guess, on Bashan, they've curbed that back. But other than that,
So what are the issues relative to B and B on that, like that one?
well, it was loud and noisy. And I'm like, okay, but if I call up and I find out it's for a relative, what do you want me to do about it? Now, if I find out that they're strictly renting it out for wedding
That's a
purposes,
different thing.
that's a different thing, and then we could say, well, why don't you become a,
Event
you
center.
know, because we went through the Smith Farm with that issue as an accessory use. And if that's the case, then maybe you need to become a country inn or a real bed
Yeah,
and
but they had
breakfast, and then,
yeah, Smith's Farm, they had the farm use though, that's how they got
that's
that.
right, they got the accessory that way. Yeah,
Have we heard any complaints from them?
haven't heard of boo.
No, but that's one of the issues in Los Angeles, is that people are renting these huge mansions, these houses, and having wild parties there.
Yeah, and they lost dearly on that one. Do you see how they trashed that house?
It happens all the time, yeah.
Well, I mean, who in their right mind? I gotta be honest, they trashed it. Those kids trashed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't care anymore.
I guess until we get complaints, it's a non-issue.
Hello?
Conservation Commission?
Nope.
Next door over.
Okay.
I was wondering who was meeting over there.
Yeah, they get canceled for some reason the other day, and I
They're
said,
over Fourth though.
they're where?
They're over.
Way out front.
First.
Oh, the first one as you come
Oh, so
in,
they didn't take this?
The cafeteria.
That was
they
given
get a
to,
kitchen with their meeting.
That's right, refrigerator.
Yeah.
Take
it here.
I'll take an IPA.
What are we doing wrong?
I need more breweries in town.
Yeah, cheers. Definitely. Okay. So, anything else?
no,
No?
that's like off the top of my head.
Okay.
Report on the storm damage.
Lots and lots.
Well, it depends on what time you wanna get out of here, depends on how much of that you wanna hear.
Let's put it this way, if it's a dirt road, it washed out. If it's a major bridge crossing, it's got impacted around the edges unless it was been recently rebuilt. We've got,
You can't go down Neptune Avenue and get through.
No.
you can't go Foxtown Cemetery, you can't go to the Consumer Union.
No.
There's quite a few places you just can't get there from here.
Oh, I could give my, I
They
could
closed
report on
it.
the
I don't know.
revitalization meeting too.
Then go around.
Nice.
Jones
Before
Hill.
you leave tonight, I gotta talk to you about a couple things.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, has everybody seen that washout at the Legion? Is he going down there?
That was something.
Yeah.
That's worth looking at.
It's worth looking at.
That's a big damn hole,
Yeah, go to the Legion Park.
even by my standards.
Yeah.
Idiot walking on 2 inches of asphalt. Yeah. Nothing underneath him for 30 feet.
I was there.
That was me.
No, actually, I did pull a kid back. I did pull a kid back who was.
Now,
So-
that washout's worth looking at, cause it's huge.
How are they gonna fix that?
$500,000 just for material
I
and
know
then labor they
exactly
haven't
how,
figured
but I
out.
don't know when.
Is it all just sand all through?
Well,
Or is that
Beth-
what it was?
Beth said it was,
Yeah, it
what
was a fill of sand for one thing.
15,000
that's caused-
square feet of material was washed out.
Yeah, it's a big hole.
It's a big damn
Can't
hole.
just go grab it from the dam?
It's there.
The
Wait,
interesting
you gotta
thing
get
is,
permits.
where is it? It's all in the pond. It's gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be
No.
in the pond. Where the hell could it be?
A lot of it laid out in the guy's yard down below. It's all
Not
over.
that yard,
15,000
not that
square
yardage.
yards?
That's a lot of
It
yardage.
buried his stuff, it buried his car. I understand.
Yeah, and by the way,
square-
they, insurance wouldn't cover it because it's under flood.
Okay,
I guess if nothing else, we learned a lot from this last storm.
No, he didn't learn a thing. No, I mean, the fact of the matter is that it was 8 inches in a 12-hour period.
It was less, yeah, but it came down like intense.
Right.
6 hours.
So-
when we were leaving our meeting is when it was the peak of
Yeah.
it.
So 8
Yeah, cause on the
inches-
way home, I was driving through a foot
Yeah.
over Sucker Brook and all that.
Yeah.
That was already over the
One of
bridge.
the houses down at the housing, the actor's housing got knocked off his foundation, right?
Oh, really? Which one?
One of them did?
One of the
The
newer
old-
ones?
No, the old,
Yeah,
Was that-
yeah. Well, it eroded a lot of the
Yeah.
foundation.
Oh, the Boardman House has a lot of
Yeah.
erosion, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, the old Boardman house, really?
That has a lot of erosion, but I don't know it moved
I
anything.
thought, they said they got knocked off its, foundation.
Well, it got eroded at least 4 feet deep along the whole side of, one side of it. Everything exposed, every rock, I mean, it's,
Did we envision anything like that when we approved the Actor housing?
well, the active
Yeah.
housing didn't get hit though.
Yeah, but you can't design for that.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is that 8 inches in a day, 24-hour period is a 100-year storm for this area.
It's more than that.
It's
7.1 is 100%.
Well, 7-1, so, but still.
If that
so
extra
that-
inch makes a lot of
Yeah,
difference.
but then you get it all in 12 hours, so what does that equal? Who knows what?
Plus,
And-
it was already so wet to
I
start.
thought it was like 6.5 they kept on saying, but it was 8?
No, it's
Well, it's
Yeah.
very varied, but.
Let's put it this way,
6 to
since
8.
I've been at the house since 1980, the only time I ever saw the Moodus River higher was in 82.
Yeah.
Really?
And yeah,
That was a 12 inches but over a period of
3
time or
days,
something.
yeah, right.
yeah, so it's the only time.
That
it was
a little
kicking.
less out there.
That was right here too, yeah, kind of, but.
So that was that was the whole state, so you got more water. The nice thing about this one, which was a nice thing, is it hit like here. I was up in Glastonbury, my son texted me, be careful coming home, it's really wet. I left work at, I don't know, 10:30. Bad week. And I'm driving home, the moon's out, and I had no idea you guys get it. We were watching 95 flooded in Norwalk, we were all thinking like the sewer backed up or something.
Yeah.
We had no idea that this much rain was hitting, because up in Glastonbury, it was a nice steady rain all day. I mean, they got rain, a couple inches, but.
Okay.
Just got a quick report on that revitalization committee, just that we had that meeting.
Yep.
And we basically had this room double open, and must have had 50 people, I would say. And, everybody's chimed in, spoke up, very intelligent comments. I mean, I thought it was very useful commentary by the public. Everybody, their big thing was, of course, please be careful as you figure out what you're gonna do, because it's like they feel it's the crown jewel of East Haddam. But other than cautioning us to be careful, they had a lot of different ideas, and there was the twist between a brewery isn't classy enough to the younger crowd, which said, yeah, it is. And that's what would attract more of a younger clientele, so. And, but it was great. I mean, a lot of professionals spoke and on all sides, and I thought Bob was there, of course, and comments were great. I thought it was well worth the effort to do. And the newspaper, that made a difference.
Yeah, I think.
That newspaper
getting
is.
some, Getting exposure to these meetings is
Yeah.
crucial.
Because no one ever comes to those revitalization meetings. I mean, there might be 3 or 4 people.
The same people.
Yeah, always the same people who might be interested, but this was literally 50 people.
Was that a special meeting, Jim, or
No, it was our regular meeting that we just set up on the agenda to have,
public input?
public input. And we advertised it in the newspaper, and that made the difference, because people can. The other thing we did is made sure that we had, you could put in written comments, because a lot of people don't want to speak. And we did get a bunch of letters ahead of time, and I think we'll get some more after. And I think the newspaper's gonna publish those or something, right?
Yeah, they can,
So,
as long as it isn't the same thing.
Yeah, no,
presentation,
yeah.
But if there's a couple of letters that bring out the major.
yeah, 'cause I was
points.
gonna say, some of them are lengthy.
Yeah, I think the points are, what do you wanna use it for? Obviously, the controversy between having a brewery and a non-brewery kind of uses, but, what do you wanna have?
It's just one use.
Yeah, and so, I think that there was, but I think it was very good comments. Very respectful group and very good.
Yeah, we limited 3 minutes, and I don't think anybody spoke over 5 tops, and they were good, worthy comments, so it was a good thing. Just so you kept up to date.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. I'm assuming that revitalization committee has representation from the Goodspeed?
Well, we don't have anybody on there that's from the Goodspeed, on the committee. But Ed Blazczyk shows up at every meeting, he was there. There were several people spoke at this last one relative to Goodspeed, Friends of Goodspeed. But they don't have an official, proposal from the Goodspeed, although they're talking about it, I guess.
Yeah, they've been talking to the town about, doing something, but I think it's more a case where the comments that came from the public went anywhere from, why don't we just give it to the Goodspeed? Or by no way in heck, under any circumstances, should we sell it to the Goodspeed? So,
Yeah,
it's a
both
very
sides.
broad, difference of opinions as to the Goodspeed are concerned.
But not really this commission's business, but.
It will come.
Well, you are, because
Yeah,
here's the thing, just keep in mind, no matter what the hell happens, you're gonna have to approve the plan before it's gonna go anywhere.
Let me revise
Go
my
ahead.
remark. The makeup of the revitalization committee is no particular business of this commission. However, it seems to me as a citizen that if you've got the biggest elephant in the area and you don't invite them to the table, it's sort of a oversight,
Well, that could be,
I respectfully 100% disagree.
okay?
Goodspeed has every right as a corporate citizen to speak out. It doesn't mean they have special privileges, and somewhat question, so, we're gonna vote on the plan, but are we, the town, responsible for developing the plan? 'Cause I'm.
No, we're
a-
not.
Oh, good.
the answer to that is,
They will not.
I'll just tell you why, because this comes up at the meeting, and this was discussed too, but people get confused. Our thing is to have plans come to the revitalization committee, and basically for review, so we can recommend some plans or multiple plans to the selectmen. The selectmen then bring it to a town meeting and probably a referendum, where, when we get it down to a couple of things that the townspeople can make a decision over. So we're not developing the site, and I think that's one of the things that we're pretty clear about, that we wanna make sure that the things that the townspeople want to see on that site are part of the plan. I think that's more what we would be doing.
How do we
But-
enforce that? We have zoning laws.
Well, they have to
If
conform
town
to
puts
the
out
zone.
to lease, it's legally out to lease. I mean, how would we say, oh, we don't really want a brewery, we want something else? If
Well,
it's
we'll see
allowed
what
in
the
zoning laws,
proposals
we'll allow
are,
it in
because
zoning laws.
for all we know, every proposal might have a brewery on it. We don't know. When we see, if there's half a dozen proposals, which we're kinda hoping we might get, who knows? Then we'll kind of fish through what we think has everything, and we've had all these meetings where people have had a lot of input. It'll, I'm sure, be publicized, and we'll get comments back from the public. As far as I'm concerned, it's a matter of satisfying the townspeople with a development plan that they think is in the best interest of the overall town. And, we represent the townspeople as, concerned citizens and no more. But we would only make a recommendation to the selectmen that this proposal and this one seem to meet most of the concerns of the townspeople, and that's what we would recommend. Hey, the selectmen could disagree and say, no, we think it should be 3 of them or whatever. They don't have to take what we do, but we are just making recommendations, so.
Jim, is there a position on the town whether or not we're gonna outright sell it to a developer or lease it?
That's a possibility, but we're waiting for developers to make some wanna buy. For instance, Donner's thing is he wants to buy it. My feeling is it'll end up with some kind of lease, because we need to protect, there's no parking for like La Vida and several of the other little, let's face it, Pelletier's building or something. No
Right,
matter
so
what
we
the
have to
use
protect-
becomes long-term, where the hell are they parking? So these are some of the issues that are gonna come out as they're discussed. And I think, a lease of the land will probably be what people want, so that they can have public use of the property. One common thread that keeps coming out of meetings is people are concerned about public access to the waterfront. They feel that if we sell off that parcel, then we no longer have any land in East Haddam that's public. And so that's gonna be an issue. We'll see how developers propose it. I think almost every developer will propose public access somewhere, but they don't have to. See what they do.
I thought you told me at the last meeting that Donner was more interested in leasing that property.
No,
because it was less of a
his
burden
proposal
on
has
his-
been to purchase. It's been discussed about leasing, because I think leasing is what's gonna protect the parking, because I think the centralized parking issue, which we were on a committee 20 years ago talked about, was We need centralized parking in there, because all those little shops down along there, what could the old sweet shop have done if there was some little parking you could walk right out to? That would have been great.
Before you go out and get developers coming in looking at this, can the town decide on that issue, whether to lease or to sell?
I doubt it, because basically we have to see what's proposed. I mean, we can make decisions afterwards. We could even say, hey, we like this proposal, except we don't like that one thing, and maybe we could propose it that way. The selectmen can say they don't wanna, bring it forward unless it has a public access.
They don't put
segment to it.
restrictions out unless you have to.
Well, I think open mind is what we're trying to do now. We wanna listen to everybody. We don't have our minds made up. Donner came forward, he's the only guy that did, so that's all you have to work with, but I'm sure there'll be other ideas.
And it does go to the public. for
And in
vote.
the end,
It's a
that's
town
the
vote.
key issue.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking that if the town decided right up front that, no, we're not gonna sell this property, we're gonna lease it, and then you go out and you get your developers to understand that that's.
Well,
the-
there's
those
that part,
parameters
and then there's the part
I
about
may be wrong
taxation.
here.
But that's not for us
Taxation
to
is
talk
another
about
issue
right
that
now.
keeps coming up.
So,
So people
Right.
feel they want to make sure that that parcel somehow contributes to the pot, rather than becomes a nonprofit. I think that's a kind of people voice that opinion there, and I think that would, if anybody's proposing a nonprofit setup in there, I think that's gonna be a hard pill to swallow for the public when they vote. They might vote that down. So, we're a long ways from having any final proposals, but we're listening to everybody, kinda just keep an open mind.
Besides Donner, is there anybody else?
No one's come forward yet, but with a concrete, I wanna do this, so. But the way it's been discussed is, Emmett apparently has talked to somebody who wants to do it. I don't know if that's a good speed or who, but.
There's been a couple of others that showed interest, but, until somebody puts something down on a piece of paper, and an RFP is,
That's, yeah.
Jim's working on it, and it's going out very soon. That's when you're gonna know really what you got. And it's gonna be basically, it says it's gonna be basically a proposal coming back from a developer, saying what they're willing to do and also what they're gonna pay. Obviously, if you're gonna lease it, who's gonna throw that $2 or $3 million worth of improvements on that piece of property if you don't own it? And who's gonna finance it? That's the big key. Who's gonna finance something when you wanna make those kind of improvements?
Yeah, but that lease, Walmart leases everything. I mean, that's not uncommon.
but they can absorb a loss if they make a bad decision.
Yeah, but most developers can absorb some loss of making bad decisions, just make the lease attractive enough. It's not a 10-year lease, it's a 50-year lease.
Yeah, it can't be short, that's for sure.
Yeah, 75, yeah.
Have a long lease.
So-
Do you have do we know about the environmental report back yet?
Well, even better, I was gonna bring that up, is that the environment report, they're gonna go and finish it up, but at the same time, I'm working with Tim Myjack to quickly get out. The state just does this, they dump things out immediately and say, you have a grant opportunity to put in for complete renovation, grant, not a matching fund, a grant for a cleanup. We called the state last week and said, hey, you put this out, the due date's October 31st to get the grant in. And is this one of these, I always do the farm bill they always put out, is that they say they have $5 million, but they've already promised 17. And they told us no. I said, no. They said, if you're, in a range for this, and the best part about it is they're gonna make the decision by December, but we can get the grant in, and then if it comes back, we can use that as part of the discussion, because you don't have to spend the money right away.
So
if they were gonna finish the final environmentals, that's being done the next couple of weeks, going around, but at the same point, there are things, the buildings themselves and all that stuff, so we're gonna put it together and send it in, so at least it's a placeholder, so if there's money to come back, we don't have to tell a developer, there's $350,000 worth of renovation here. We could tell the developer that the town of East Haddam has secured a grant for $350,000.
Oh, yeah. Now,
Now,
is that
that'll
coming through
sweeten
the
it.
selectman's office, all this?
Yeah, it just happened.
Okay.
I mean,
No,
literally
no,
on
but-
Thursday, I was scrambling, meeting people and doing stuff.
Well, that's a pretty important little,
Yeah, but it wasn't available, nobody forewarned us, they just went, boop, grant available. On market set, go. Now fortunately, we already have the environmentals, we already have site plans, we already have all the other stuff that George Feldner did, they also, cause it's through the economic development, state economic development commission.
That's what.
That's right. So they also wanna know that it's a viable site. We have the minutes, the timing, one of the criteria was have public input. I need the minutes to put them in, insert them into it so that, that there's public interest in developing the site. So those minutes reflect that. So I think it's all gonna tie in nicely. We just gotta cross our fingers that, it comes through. Because there is some stuff that has to be done there. And the stupid part, Rich probably knows, but I mean, the slightest little thing, and if you start moving cubic yards, you move it, but all of a sudden the waste disposal is huge. And for parts per million, trillion, yeah,
That bad.
yeah.
That's why I got out. Look, I used to do environmental, I'm like, I can't deal with this.
No.
Convince me this is real.
Yeah. Your driveway with a little bit of gasoline and oil spill is super fun.
And who doesn't have it in their driveway?
Right.
Don't come digging around mine. I got a dirt one too. You all set, Jim?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, we left off, if I remember correctly, at September 12th. Booklet.
See which one's
Have
better.
anything on this?
No, I didn't bring mine, but go ahead, I don't think I've got anything in the September one.
Any other comments, questions on this?
Are you passing them down, Jim?
No, I had handed them out. You wanna go make copies?
No, that's all right. I'll take notes.
This was looking downtown street for development. So when we get together with Mike, we're gonna be going over these again?
Yep.
We're just kind of bringing up questions, comments at this point. We went through the last four, the last time meeting we were here.
So,
Um,
the gym is reserved for the public, is that the idea?
Yeah,
Okay.
that one we're gonna do the
How are we
somebody-
noticing the public, because,
when's that one done?
That's the October 29th.
Oh, okay. But when are we meeting with Mike?
Right after that, so we can have the results of that and then talk
That
about
night?
this. No, not that night, no.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, sometime right after that.
Okay,
October
so it'll be a couple, okay.
we need to get some kind of notice in the paper, though, because
I'm bringing the mailer.
that worked fantastic.
I'm bringing the mailer tomorrow to the, so it's an insert. 5,000
okay.
copies.
Oh,
5,000?
Yeah.
What color?
Basically like that color.
Not gonna do something bright?
Well, it's bright, it takes the full page. Yeah.
It's Halloween.
Huh?
It's Halloween.
Yeah, but then they'll throw it away thinking it's a kid's thing.
Or on the 29th, we'll show up with a lot of kids in costumes.
Candy.
Thinking it's
Good.
good.
You know, have the kids have games and grab the parents. But the demographics will be all
You
off.
get to run the games.
I'm past that. Like you.
Are we gonna get recommendations for zoning changes from
I think we're working on that now. That's kind of, like in that chart from before, where we talked about, changing the, some of the regulations, and then putting a deadline on it, that's, for a target date, yeah, that's kind of it. As far as exact regulation changes, no, I think it's gonna be sort of fluffy here where it says, expand commercial uses.
I think if we feel that we need to, then yeah, we will. As we go for this, because, it's the plan that we wanna do, so if we want it to work, then we're gonna have to,
Planning that we should be zoning for it.
yeah, then we need to start to make the changes.
Well,
But we
that's-
need to see if the
let's see what the
plan
public
is,
has to say. I mean,
right, we have to see what people want.
There'll be those that are freaked out by the thought of businesses spreading down there, but I think that a lot of the people are gonna realize actually every other place is already a business.
Bob?
Greg, if I could have just on that area down
Yeah,
there. We
go right
had
ahead.
the fall weekend, that we had this past weekend, and you had Staley's and basically Staley's 500 people down there. We had the, basically, Connecticut Landmarks, the first time opened up the Palmer Waterhouse. I had 200 at that. Wrestling Cats was overwhelmed with the numbers of people in there, and the.
How about Sanibel's, did he get hit?
No, he didn't get hit. And so basically, Sanibel's, I mean, they were doing more business than Joey was doing really good down there.
Okay, so he was, good.
Yeah, so, and Town Tavern was really busy, so it was very good in that whole district down there. It was busy, there was a lot of traffic, and the businesses were doing very well.
You do need better parking for that Warner House, though.
Well, that was because
Holy
they got
crap.
it all tied up because of the barn. The barn, well, you know, Jim, there's a permit in now for a new barn, gonna go up on that property. I see they took out the permit for $500,000, is that right? What it said on it.
Do they
I read
need,
it.
do they
Okay,
need the barn?
you wanna
Why are they
build,
spending the
you and
money?
I wanna build it next weekend and,
Yeah.
and we'll collect 400 and pocket it because it's ridiculous.
Can I ask the question, why
they
do they need
paying
to
the
spend
fee?
500,000 on a barn, do they need it?
It's not a case of probably need, it's a case where their, I guess, kind of bylaws are saying that this building has to be built the old way. So they are not using any power equipment, they're basically doing everything by hand. That's what they did
Oh,
over the
wow.
weekend. They had
I saw the
guys-
guy
they
using
were
an
out
axe.
there,
I'm
They
like,
went out in the back,
Mm-hmm.
cut down the trees, pulled the trees up with the horses, and we're actually cutting the beams out of white oaks.
hand hewed, yeah.
Who's doing it?
Yankee Restoration,
Yeah, who's the head guy on that?
Andover, Connecticut.
Yeah.
It's not Jeff Bradley, is it?
No, it's Mike, I forget what his last name was, but,
I'm just surprised that, they're even putting a barn back, if they have other,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, basically, they have voted to do it, and
Okay.
so they're going to, but it's just going to mean there's a lot more going on. But they do have a big parking lot in the back, out there in the field out there, and that's what they've used before, and they just can't get out there now.
so the businesses did well. I wasn't around this weekend, so I don't know.
The businesses did fabulous.
Good.
It was
I was out of
very, very successful
Mhm.
weekend, and, I mean, we had a lot of people all over. And, so I would say that, that of course, we had the shuttle buses coming from the railroad station going up to
Mhm.
East Haddam Historical Society and turning them there. So that was the district that they were covering. But it was definitely,
Was the Gillette's Castle all part of it? People heading out there, do you know?
Gillette's
or-
Castle, I don't know, because that was not a part of it, because
Okay.
we don't have enough time with the shuttles to go all the way there.
Okay.
If next year the town actually contributes to them, we're gonna try and include the castle.
I'd be kind of curious, I know Headline Four Corners is out of East Haddam, I'm kind of curious if it spilled over for, the store there also.
I think it probably had to because of just the amount of traffic that
Yeah.
was around, and because people were definitely touring around.
Mhm.
But I didn't see any numbers, because there was a hike over at the castle too, but I didn't get over to see what those were. But overall, it was very successful, and that area of the town was where all the activity was.
Mhm.
And they had Touch a Truck here, that did very well. And they also had the Lions at the grain trawl, and that did okay, but not as great as I hoped it could be.
What was at the Grange?
The Lions had,
Yeah.
it was the Apple Festival. and-
Oh,
It was
okay.
the Apple Festival.
Yep.
But certainly that section that we're talking about here was a very busy section.
Which you were talking about here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Staley's is by far the biggest draw.
Yeah.
When basically when you get on the shuttle bus, you check out where you wanna go. Staley's is the number one place they wanna go.
When they get that other building set, they'll really be pulling them.
Yeah, when they have the tasting room set
Yeah.
up, that's just gonna make more, and fortunately, they've got the parking to handle it, so.
Yeah.
They can handle a lot of parking, they had a lot of cars in there, so they're handling probably 200, 300 cars. And they're doing it very efficiently, and they have the shuttle buses looping around going through.
Well, they have the people also
And
directing
they have the
everyone.
people mover going in their own place.
Yep,
So,
they do.
They're moving a lot of people, but it was certainly showed that there's a lot of activity on this area we're talking about.
I think
What is-
the advertising you did was very effective.
We did, this time we did the most advertising, and I think we got a good return for it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we basically,
So you've done this in the past?
yeah, this will be the third year. But the first year, we had 7 businesses. This year, we had 32 businesses involved in this week.
Wow.
And so they were doing specials, they were doing whatever, but this was by far the biggest growth.
No, it was all spelled out really well on that sheet, and
Yeah, we tried to make it so you show you what it was, and, but of course, we can do a little better. We learned a few things that we will be improving on next year. But I was just very happy with the numbers of businesses that were involved. And,
This is when you need to have your Charter Fest now at the same time,
yeah, we need to.
or other things going on.
Yeah, and I think as this grows, we're just like having the Palmer House on. I mean, this is the first time that house has been opened in 12 years. So, it was really standing tall.
Good.
So, yeah, I'm very happy that we're starting a working relationship with Connecticut Landmark where it wasn't there before. And, so we're starting a working relationship. And I think that we're also getting a great working relationship with other businesses. And when you get 32 businesses that they want to be a part of it, that's very good. And I think that I tried to cover as many as I could, and everybody seemed to be very happy with the advertising they got and the response they got from the general public.
any thoughts on doing this more than once a year?
We're thinking of also doing it for the spring, but right now we're, getting this fall put together. But this year was so much growth. We went from 12 last year to 32 this year. That's a lot of growth.
Yeah.
But it went over well. So we're very, very pleased with it.
I don't want to do it too much, you don't want to burn people out also.
You know, I talk to people, and Staley's is their destination for a Christmas tree.
Mhm.
It's amazing, I mean, from miles around, it's,
Go get a bottle of wine and a tree and
yeah, and,
$50 a tree.
hey, that's what they get.
But they had the food trucks all there, and so that was, a great draw, and
How many trucks did they have there?
3.
3, really?
So they were doing quite well. There was really 2 real trucks in the, but they have the picnic tables there, they're underneath the cover in the back of the barn there. So it's well organized, and then of course they have the bar there, and, selling the wine, and, so, they're really doing a nice job.
Good.
And, I mean, look at the growth they've had in the past 3 years.
Well, they really don't carry fruit and vegetables anymore.
I don't know, it's the wine that's taken over. That's the money,
That's all he sells.
yeah.
Hey, it's good.
Our next meeting, not to get ahead of ourselves, do we have anything planned?
I have no applications at this time.
Okay. Last week when we went through this, a lot of you guys weren't here to go through all these. Do people want to go through them again as a full commission?
And one of the things that I thought we'd wait after this meeting was, do you want me to kind of take from what our existing plan of conservation development and just take those checklist sheets?
Yeah.
And fill them in and then put some possible dates with it to make it work?
Possible dates for,
Well, some of them were broke out by implement by a certain time,
We talked about that.
yeah,
But I think I was gonna wait until after this meeting and get your go-ahead and then kind of just, and then we could change it when I bring it back, cause all I'll do is I'll give you copies, like, it said lead agency or agencies, and then timeline. And then if there's one here that we say, you don't wanna do, then we just cross it out when we get back to it. But those are like, a dozen pages to go through that I could.
Bob, did you have a chance to catch up on these?
Yes and no, but basically it came up at our commission meeting, and we're going to basically make up something for the board. I didn't know whether it would be the most appropriate before the meeting or after the meeting. I thought what we would do is after the 29th, we would hear that. I'd have some commission members there. We'd have our meeting, which is the 3rd or 4th, it's the first Thursday of the month, and then we could come back to you and hopefully get it before you have your next meeting with your consultant.
Because I know our timeline's we're starting to wind down. When do we have to start actually drafting things?
Well, that's gonna be December and into January.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that would work if we
Yeah.
get you something in that first,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to get them before meetings, so we can read them first, and then we can, at the meeting, at least we can.
Right, that way we have
Discuss
to
with your
review it.
consultant.
Because if they just get handed out at the meeting, then
Right,
we're all
right.
blanks.
Because if we get it at the meeting, then we have no time to read it.
Yeah, no, I mean before you, with the meeting with your consultant.
Yeah.
Jim sent it to us a few weeks ago.
So after the public hearing, but before your meeting with the consultants. Okay.
Yep.
Email it to us.
The,
Okay.
Last meeting.
the Board of Finance has the plan of looking at draft their little section
Okay.
at their next meeting, which is this coming Monday. And with any luck, they'll say, shoot it to you.
Who have we heard from? Cemetery Committee?
Yep, cemetery committee, historic, conservation kind of, weighed in and said,
They finally did?
yeah, they kind of
Okay.
said, they like the status quo on most of the goals and objectives. So
Okay.
there wasn't any great change.
Any committees we need to like give a nudge to?
I was gonna, this is the beauty of the part, I can walk right down to that office over there, the Board of Ed, and nudge them and say, you had a facilities discussion,
Mm-hmm.
It is
get a copy of the minutes and say, where are you and all that, cause we did have that talk last week about, like, I owe you something, don't I? I said, yeah, you do. So, guy said, it's getting close to time, cause if you don't, we'll make the decision for you. And that just scares the living bejesus out of them.
It is what it is. It's not like they haven't had the opportunity. It's
Yeah.
been a year.
Yeah.
They've, most of the, that since we,
So, I mean, but they did have a facilities discussion, and of course, I had to
Okay.
lecture them that they should never get the architect first when talking about buildings, because then the engineer has to come and correct them after that it doesn't fit. And they were surprised that I still have maps of all of it and the septic calculations and everything from the building, and I said, before you get any brilliant ideas, no. Here's the reason why, about expansion on certain things. I said, you just can't take an existing septic system.
what are you talking about? From where?
In the middle school, remember there was a one version of moving everybody from the elementary school to the middle school?
Oh, yeah.
I said, so where are you putting the septic? Well, we got all that air. I said, you don't even know where your septic is. Well, the architect did. I said, that's it. I said, you need to start with engineers.
So
So,
fix under the soccer field.
yeah, the entire length.
Get a site that works and then build a building.
Yeah, so they get those full copies of maps and reports and,
Have we heard from the selectmen yet?
yeah. It's
We
been
did
so
get
long,
something
I
from-
forgot.
But we did get something from
I
them.
thought we did. I thought we got out of that checklist. They
double check on
redid-
that.
Yep. Alright,
Because I know they're talking about it, but then I never
Yeah.
heard about anything.
alright.
So let me see if I understand. We're gonna have a meeting on October 29th. We're gonna talk to
Mike?
to Malone McBroom again. Is part of their contract that once we've agreed, so to speak, on the content, that they're gonna push that content into some format that they would recommend?
Yep.
Could we have relatively soon a sample using, one of our little, whichever of these
Right.
2 or 3
I would,
pages that they could
I
just show
would
us what
say
they're looking for, because one of their
after
big
we-
sales pitches is, we can make this saleable. Okay, show me.
so I would say after we have that meeting with them, we could say, okay, now that we've gotten direction from the public and here's a chapter that everybody seems clear and is not controversial, can you just show me that chapter, that section?
How would you present it?
If we're-
Yeah, how are they gonna do it?
Well, they're right, that's
Right.
where we're asking them to go,
What
give us,
format you're gonna put it in,
right,
where are you gonna put the graphics and all of that nonsense.
I asked Mike at the last meeting that, if he had some kind of a conceptual, outline for where we're going with this, and he said he would show us at the next meeting.
okay,
I don't know if he's saying that or not.
alright,
the next meeting's
We'll
the
look up at
gym,
the meeting,
right?
up at the
Yeah.
minutes,
So
it'll
there's
be
no
written
public
on
there,
there.
right?
that's the
It was a
public, then we're gonna
discussion
meet
after.
right after that.
Oh,
You know,
Well,
whether it's the following
having
week or the
this-
week
Oh,
after.
let's
all right, not the
remind
same
you.
night.
Yes, so.
Okay, so that 29th meeting is mainly the public though, in the
Right,
gym.
right.
Okay.
Right, but right after that, I would like to see,
Yeah, got our next regular scheduled meeting if there's nothing on the agenda, and if not, we try
I
to
mean-
schedule a special night.
there's all kinds of ways to write things up, and
No, wait a minute, the 29th, we're not holding a public meeting in the gym, are we?
Yeah, that's the public meeting in the gym, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was, they were,
Public meeting, like we're used to a public meeting, that's a,
That's a show and tell by Malone and McBroom. They're gonna make a presentation to people, then they're gonna break out into
so.
3 to 5.
but we're doing it
work
as a
groups.
public meeting on planning and zoning? No.
No, no, no.
Well, okay, that's what I was gonna say.
No.
It's a public information meeting.
There we go, that's a big difference.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Well,
public.
that's what's happening on the 29th.
Yeah,
It's a
public
public information.
So everybody's getting a flyer saying you're invited. Come, talk about your thoughts, just like you did for the
so
revitalization.
we don't have to go as a commission?
You don't know.
No. So we're not, okay.
You're not on the hook.
What's
Yeah,
that?
no.
Be
It
good
might be
to check it
informative,
out.
though.
Well, we'll hear about it. Do
well,
I-
we'll hear
We'll hear.
what Mike chooses to tell us.
No, we have Jim, he'll be there.
Fun, they're fun.
I would go just
Well,
to see how it
you know
goes.
what, you don't
I wanna
want
see
one
how
to
it
make
goes.
them fun, just put one nasty proposal in there. You know, like,
Anybody got
oh, it gets about like the woodworks, like the prison you proposed about, you know? You know?
You found out about it?
Well,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you, I hate to say it, Manny Massetti did the best thing for open space by saying that that piece next to him should be sold by the state for a prison. He said it, and it made the paper. It ignited people for open space like no tomorrow, people that hated open space.
People don't realize what could happen, I mean, that's just a.
But he
Oh,
said
yeah.
it, it made the paper, and next thing you know, boom!
Just stay put.
Well, not only did the state buy it, but then all of the other stuff rolled in after, it was,
Getting out president all over the town.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, though, if, how many commission members can show up at one open forum like that and not have to call a meeting? We can't all show up, because then we have a
You
quorum.
can show up if you don't sit in the same table together and you're all dispersed.
I'm just
Yeah.
making sure that we don't.
But if you decide to sit in the corner and
You can't sit at the bar, is that the problem?
Yeah,
I think I yelled at it.
but anyway,
The whole wetlands commission went across the road and they,
Had there been?
Did you record it?
huh?
Did you publicly notice it and record it?
I was 26 at the time,
Just thought it was cool, man.
okay.
As, my understanding is that we could all show up, we could have a quorum show up, provided we don't interact and transact any business.
Yes.
Because
That's
the
what I
same
just
thing
wanted
is
to
like
clarify.
if you go to a town meeting and
Right.
5 of you show up to a town meeting to vote, that, as long as you're not in a row huddling about that subject,
Yeah, there's a number.
yeah.
4.
Yeah, what is it, 4?
4.
Okay, so. Okay, so I just wanna make sure we're accomplishing and moving ahead. So, our next meeting, what do we wanna accomplish on the plan of conservation and development? Are we gonna go back and revisit this? Are we gonna look at what Jim had? Are we gonna do our final tally on this paperwork?
Well, we'll have the public's comments from the 29th meeting, right?
No, we won't. This is before then.
Oh, that's the one before, okay,
So, yeah, we have a meeting in between now and the 29th,
Well, hey,
and we have nothing on the agenda.
let's
So either
just
we're gonna
leave it off
work
the
on it or
agenda and
we're
we'll go
gonna stay
home early.
So how about this, I take those timeline things and I fill them out and then I get it to you ahead of the next meeting. And then also, if you have any issues on the 4 sheets that are here, bring it back and say,
Sure you
either
have
I
yours.
wanna add to it, or I need,
I wasn't at the last meeting, so I didn't get the nice color ones.
No, these were passed out when we sat down with Mike.
yeah, these are the same ones.
These are the same
Oh,
ones.
okay, all
We,
right.
you should have 4 of them.
Yeah, well, I just got back, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you have a, specific page, and you say, I've got a
We don't
problem
wanna
with
know.
that, and the other thing is, I owe you the open space calculation, the total acreage, so you
Okay.
know. 'Cause I wanna just compare it to his sheet over here to make sure we're on the same page.
So does that sound like a plan?
Well, for me, would it be, and maybe this was already said, would it be reasonable for the economic development to get us their thoughts before our next regular meeting?
In 2 weeks?
That'll be after the 29th.
No, meeting next week, right, 15th.
Or 2 weeks?
The Board of Finance is meeting on the 15th.
Right.
2
And
weeks,
we'll,
whatever's today, was it
I'm
So,
not,
hey,
what's that, ninth?
yes,
Ninth.
meeting is 15th. We meet 2 weeks from now, which is the 23rd.
right, and with any luck, you'll have their input
Right.
before that.
I was just
And what
gonna
I'm
ask that.
asking is, could we get the EDC's input too?
Well,
Because
that
that
would
would give
be
us something
Mr.
to work
Casper.
on.
Okay, what I was looking for is to do it after the public hearings, that's what I was looking to
Right.
do. And then it would be our next meeting, so I could finalize that. I mean, we've got some drafts going right now from our last meeting that we have been talking about this. Let me see where those,
No, that's
I mean, you
fine.
don't need a finished product, you need
Right,
just
just
some
something.
idea where our
Where your thoughts are headed.
Bob, when's your next meeting? First week of November?
First Thursday of the month of November.
So, because our next meeting after that would be November 13th.
Okay.
Can we look at it for that, or maybe get a draft and then have the
I'm just saying,
final?
we're all gonna be
No, I know.
assembled here, look at some timelines and go home. That seems like a
Well, I know.
fairly unproductive use of my day. So I'm
Yeah,
just trying to get more stuff on the table.
What I
Right.
was looking to do was to give it to the board on when you were gonna meet your consultant, because it sounded like you were gonna be meeting with them probably that first week in November. Or maybe
We haven't set a date yet for that.
Okay.
That way, no.
Or the first regular meeting in November, at
Right, it
the
could be
worst
that.
case
So
scenario.
It could be the 13th if we don't have anything else on the agenda. Like tonight would have been perfect, but we don't have anything ready for them.
Well, let me see if I can get you just even a draft of where we
Okay.
are, and at least that'll give you an idea.
Do we have anything else we could start to work on? Or we're kind of
Yeah,
waiting, we're on a hold right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, something might come up that goes on the agenda.
Well, if it's not productive for us to come, then let's not, we won't meet.
Somebody might do something in East Haddam.
I agree. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here for an hour.
The other way around it is I can mail it to you and you can send it back for corrections and we can hash it over on the 13th if nothing else comes up.
Well, we'll leave that to them.
Okay.
So your idea of planning, I take it then at the EDC, is you listen to the public and all they got to say, and then you put an X in the middle and claim that was market research?
Worked on that for 3 months.
Okay, anything?
I do that at home. What do you want?
I'm
What do
sorry?
you want? Oh, let's do that.
Thank you. Like your fun.
No second, denied.
Could you send Malone McBroom an email with, focusing on what kind of a outline they're proposing or they're thinking about and structure of this whole thing? Thank you.
So you can start
They must have,
wrapping that around
they
it?
must have it all.
Yeah, I think, they did one on Bosra or Baltic that they showed us when they were, trying to get our contract. And I like the layout of the whole thing, but it was broken, it was only in 3 different major categories: economic development, I think,
Conservation.
government and, the schools and all that, and then the conservation end of it. And I liked it, but I think we could do better. And I'm just wondering if he, after having spent the amount of time he has in this town looking at this, whether he has some kind of a vision as to how he's gonna lay this thing out.
Well, he'll lay it out as we want it to also, so.
We're paying these guys
Right.
for their intelligence.
Correct.
And I want to bring something to the table.
Right.
I'm not a planner.
No, but if we don't like it, he'll,
Yeah.
right.
But it'd be nice if we did have a couple of basically ideas as to what it looks like, so give us what they've given 3 other towns or something.
Right,
And,
exactly.
and that'll give us an idea, we like A, but we don't like B or C. And, that's, I would love to have some samples.
And as long as we were prodding I assumed you were gonna do this, Mr. Ventris. As long as we're prodding EDC for our next meeting and, the Board of Finance, prod Board of Ed.
Yep.
You were just saying to walk down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we had that, then we would have something to have a meeting over.
And you, yeah, that's why I was asking, have we gotten it? Make sure the selectmen have theirs, if not, we gotta
Okay.
prod them.
Alright,
And who else? Any other big
I'll just go through the folder and drag it all out, because, you know, it just comes in bits and pieces. We asked for a year
Over a
ago
year,
of comments, and then we got a couple, and then we got none, and then, you know. And then it's like,
Ag
well,
commission too.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, the Ag Commission. Haven't heard from them, have we?
I don't think they had
they've
any
had any
input.
meetings lately.
They don't do much, huh?
Motion to adjourn?
Jim, did the state approve the extension?
They don't have to approve the extension. What they'll do is they'll recognize it as when we submit a grant.
Okay, so that.
Yeah.
So that was just a.
We sent the letters, I had Emmett sent the letters in already, so if we have a grant application, we have to simultaneously send the same information.
Okay.
Quick question. You're on the cemetery committee, right?
Yes,
You know where the second burial ground is?
yes.
Down in back of the Ray Light Farm?
Mhm.
Does that parcel abut the Rose Farm? It does not.
It's just a little off, because the cemetery's inside of Rose Farm,
What's inside Red Light?
or right,
Yeah,
right, like,
yeah.
Correct.
yes.
And, but the town owns that piece of land.
No, Ray of Light actually owns
Per
it. but
this
the-
document, it says second.
I believe, okay. I think I have that somewhere. But anyway, yeah. And your point?
Well, I was hoping it would border it so that it could be commingled.
What, do you wanna make that a destination? It's everybody's destination though, that's the problem.
Well, I know the Ray of Light allows everyone to go down there.
Yeah.
They've never
You
stopped
have to
anyway.
get permission from them.
I just walk over the stone wall and walk.
But the
to it.
fact that
It's-
we're building
it's
a bridge
25 feet.
down, we're building a bridge down in Rose Farm. And, there's hiking trails down there, and it would be nice if they could access that.
Well, how far off the property line is it?
25, 60, 65 feet
They
maybe.
won't care, it's way in the back.
Well, just, all you have to do is, are you on that commission for, just ask them. Your board get together and
Ask who?
get the owner of Ray of Light.
Like,
Maybe they would deed the
Well, they might like it
right away.
because that might be the way that, instead of
it'll
having
be
people come
easier.
through the farm,
Right.
that way they.
Just go talk to
I
them.
don't have to deed it, they could just give me the easement, just access.
Yeah, there you go, easement, whatever. Yeah, go, they're pretty easygoing ladies,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
They're paying taxes on it, they'll give it to you.
I don't think they're doing that.
I had to fight paying taxes on my cemetery.
Did you, really up there?
Yeah, because they said, well, it's an open space, well, it's being used.
Oh, Jesus.
Now they're really getting big.
Not really active use, but.
You can't put it in open space, it's being used. Oh, yeah. That was Damon.
Oh, yeah, he was brutal.
Yeah.
He taxed you for a dead horse.
You taxed me on my dead relatives. I mean, come on, that's the same, it's like, really?
They're using it.
That's what he said to me, I'm like. But anyway, okay, so are we all set we will make a decision on whether or not we have enough things to meet to make it a worthwhile meeting?
Yep.
In 2 weeks. Okay. And the 29th is, if you wanna go, it's not a meeting, and then our regular meeting on the 13th, we will be here. Is it November what?
I
Yeah,
think
November
Rich said the
13th.
23rd. Oh, November,
23rd
yeah.
October.
no, October 23rd is the next meeting.
Yeah, that's our next meeting, whether or not we're gonna have it or not, depends on if we have enough material to make it worthwhile.
Makes sense.
For us.
13th of November, then we move to the 13th of November.
Correct. Okay.
Motion
on the
to
floor.
adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
The other one is,
I owed you that one, Govins.
School, here,
They had what do you call it, teacher conferences, teacher.
Oh, really, and that's what they, cause, yeah, I've seen multiple times that there's people parking all over the lawn, don't we have enough parking in this place? or what?
Not when they do that, when they bring the staff down,
Okay.
they had.
So if I,
Multiple times.
so if I resign,
Yeah.
which I probably should have done right then and there in front of them.
I was okay with not getting any.
The last time.
The guys never called me, he didn't show up to the meeting, no one knows, I don't even know if they've even heard from him.
If you think I really need it,
Yeah.
you know.
So
then
we
do
just.
Oh, I think you'd be great
Park
there.
on the overflow bar.
See, I'm worried that I'm gonna.
Just what I'm saying.
Well, I started doing that the last meeting that I went to last one. And,
Look, and every time I pour these.
and there's one woman, who like just wants to ram everything down, she's like, alright.
And it works, you know, I
I
understand.
just stopped doing that.
Because
It was
everybody
great.
comes back to the room and then.
Oh, I
everybody, you know,
understand, yeah, I don't really care.
He's right.
So, I saw all the cars, I'm like, where's the bicycle racks, though?
You know?
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
do it.
Well, I said,
About that.